I have been awake and out of bed for approximately 5 minutes. Oh my fucking god, I'm obsessed. They are not brain food, but they may be soul food. Ebooks! Aye, this was not on my Tuesday bingo board. I've applied for the London Marathon. I feel like I am on the verge of turning into a raging psychopath. Good morning, guys. It is 6:39 a.m. on Saturday, which is also a record store day, which apparently is also 4:20. I have been awake and out of bed for approximately 5 minutes, and I am about to go and stand outside my local record store for over an hour to get the 1975, was it Live at Gorilla? Yeah. Live at Gorilla from the record store for record store day. Welcome to the vlog. Another lazy afternoon. I got the last copy of the 1975 Live at Gorilla. What did you get the last copy of? Scott Walker?
David Byrne, Scott Walker.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good day. It's a very good day.
Step dancing on the roof, it's like they're calling out, don't lose your youth, 'cause I've been saying, step inside, oh, make
which side is your side that it's done?
just a little less mundane, oh,
yeah.
It's insane.
God. Is it? I can't see.
Oh, doesn't it? The rain
Right middle. The right one. Oh my fucking god, I'm obsessed. This vlog has literally only just started and I already feel like it is shambolic. I also kind of have my back to the light a little bit, but I really just wanted to utilize the curtains that we've just put up. I am obsessed with these. I wasn't sure in the store. We saw some cream ones and I was thinking like I'd like an animal print. I wanted a bit of a pattern, but wasn't sure what I wanted, and we saw these. And I'm planning on getting an orange bedspread. I want plain black bedding. The bed is green, and like a burnt orange, almost this colour bedspread. And I was like, I don't want everything to be orange because I feel like then everything else will have to be orange. But I put these up. They look so good. They look so good. I made such a good choice. After we got our record store day stuff, we went and we had breakfast. I did pick up a book, which I have to haul for you. I haven't even told you what I'm reading yet and what is going on. But after that, we went to Dunelm, originally looking for bedding because that is what we desperately need. The bed is arriving on Wednesday. And we ended up getting curtains instead, which is great because I kind of know what I want for the bed, which is why I'm struggling to actually find it. But I wasn't sure about the curtains, and these have worked amazingly. In terms of the book that I've hauled, because that's actually more important or relevant, I guess, than what I'm currently reading. I got my Live at Gorilla 1975 vinyl, which I still have not finished the Tortured Poets department, okay? But wearing a 1975 hoodie, driving to record store day, Curtis wanted some stuff obviously that he got, but I only went for this. So wearing a 1975 hoodie, driving to the record store for record store day to pick up this while listening to the Tortured Poets department where Taylor Swift is essentially just reading Matty Healy to filth. I was living my best life, and a win for me, I pre-ordered the Black Dog edition, which I feel like was the right choice. I am only actually up to the Black Dog at the minute, and my favourite song is the Black Dog. Not really vibing with the first half of the album if I'm being honest, but there have been Taylor Swift albums in the past that I haven't really enjoyed upon first listen, and it's taken me like a couple of tries to get into them. Reputation is the most notable one, which I actually didn't like the first time I listened to it, and it's now up until like Folklore, it ended up being my favorite album. Folklore is also one of my favorites in 1989, but I wasn't super impressed by the Taylor's version of 1989. I think in terms of the Taylor's versions, it was the weakest one. But anyway, none of that is relevant aside from I'm obsessed with the Black Dog, and I'm so glad that I pre-ordered that one. And then the book that I bought, and I shouldn't be buying books, I know, but one of my patrons told me, I think it was Chloe, said that she picked this up from the works for £1.50, and that is Tastes Like Shakar by Nisha Sharma. So this one is the sequel to Dating Dr. Dill, which I read in my last vlog. Was it the last? No, the one before, which was Shelve It or Scrap It episode 3. I read Dating Dr. Dill. It is a contemporary romance Shakespeare retelling, and this is the sequel. So the books are following the main character from Dr. Dill's best friends and also the love interest best friends. So this one is a retelling of Much Ado About Nothing. I really, really like Dating Dr. Dill. I don't know whether I loved it so much because it was a Taming of the Shrew retelling, but it actually took me by surprise because it's been a long time since I've really loved a romance. And so I knew that I wanted to pick this up. And when I think it was Chloe said that it was £1.50 in the works, I had to hunt it down. So I did. But what am I currently reading? That is an excellent question because I have tried to pack so much into Saturday and most of it was accidental. So I am doing my Patreon 24-hour readathon starting at 6 p.m. tonight. I forgot when I scheduled that it was record store day. So now I've been out all morning. I have to walk Brie. I still have my workout to do. It's strength day. We were going to put up the light fitting today in this room, but I just don't think we're gonna have time now because I don't know how long it's gonna take me. Having never done a light fitting before and having to drill into the ceiling and stuff, like it's not as simple as the light switches that I did. So I don't think that's gonna get done, but I also have to like still schedule the sprints and stuff. I only finished the last book I was reading for the last vlog like really late last night. So while we were running out the door this morning, I had no idea what I wanted to pick up because I am reading a couple of things for the 24-hour readathon tonight, but like we're not there yet. So I did start volume 2 of Die Fantasy Heartbreaker because I had it on my phone. It's on Kindle Unlimited, which is a comic series following a group of, they're now adults, but in the 90s when they were kids, they were playing this tabletop RPG and they ended up sucked into the game. So they were missing for, I think it was 2 years, and 5 of them, I think there's 6 in total, and 5 of them returned. 1 of them didn't, and they've never spoken about what happened to them. And then on one of their birthdays, like 20 something years after this, they receive a D20. So the character that receives it gets the gang back together to talk about it, and they all get sucked into the game again. I really loved volume 1. I gave it 5 stars, which is one of my only 5 stars of the year so far, and I've been meaning to continue. It's one, you know, like when something takes so little time that you just don't actually do it. That is me with comics. So I thought like while we were standing in the queue for hours for record store day, I would read some of that. So I think I'm just under halfway through, and it's actually really good that I picked that up because now I don't really need to put it down for the 24-hour readathon. I can finish it up at the beginning and then move on to the other 2 hopefully reads that I plan on getting through for that, which I will tell you guys about a little bit later. But for now, I'm gonna try and get myself together. I'm gonna schedule my sprints, walk Brie, get my workout in. I really would like a nap because I got up at like 6:30 this morning and I'm still kind of haven't caught up on my sleep from getting up at 6 to go to London on Thursday because I couldn't get a lie in yesterday because I had sprints with Gavin at midday and I had other stuff that I needed to do. So I'm gonna sleep well tonight, but then I also have to be up again at a reasonable time because I have sprints at midday again tomorrow. But if I could squeeze in a nap at some point this afternoon, that would be really, really good. I have not accomplished half of the things that I set out to today. I didn't manage to work out because I said if I had have done, because I had like an hour queued, I would have ended up like being really pushed for time and having things back to back to back, which I didn't want, especially on a Saturday. So I'll just do a little bit extra on top of what I was already going to do because I am going to go for a run tomorrow morning. But it is 24-hour readathon time. We have 15 minutes until sprint start, which means that I need to tell you guys what I'm going to be reading. So I am hoping to finish Die Volume 2. That is going to be my book if we roll a double, but the prompt for this month, because every month there is a prompt generated by the Spookopoly board, prompt for this month is spooky. And if y'all remember from my Patreon 24-hour readathon last month, I read Pretty Little Liars by Sarah Shepherd. So for this one, I'm going to be reading Flawless. It's like a low-key read-along happening on my Patreon now, just for the few people that also happened to read it last month as well. So this one, as y'all know, if you are familiar with the show at all, is about a group of girls that start receiving anonymous texts that they think is connected to the disappearance of their friend Alison. So they had a friend who she brought the group together, but she was a massive bully. She went missing one summer, and 2 years after, as they're about to start school, like they've grown apart, but they end up coming back together when they start receiving these texts, which are signed by A, which is the initial of the friend that went missing, Alison. Lots of like red flags, lots of problematic content in here, and I thought when I ended up picking it up, because it was a random like spinner wheel that picked the book for me, I thought I was gonna hate it, and this is definitely a product of its time. Like it has inappropriate relationships, slut shaming, fat shaming, all of that stuff that was super present in the early 2000s. But I also thought that this was going to be badly written, and it actually isn't. And I also think it's a pretty decent time capsule of teenage girl media in the early 2000s. So I had a really good time with it and I'm really excited to continue. Pretty Little Liars was also a very, very quick read for me. So I anticipate finishing this one quite quickly. If I do, I have something else in mind that I would like to pick up. But because I also have Die Volume 2 on the go, I'll let you guys know a little bit later on if I do end up going with that one. I am as well, I haven't mentioned, I am still currently participating in Magical Readathon and I have managed to get this one in for a prompt. So I'm using this one for animal studies. The prompt for that is to read a book that has a yellow title. And I know that this doesn't, okay? This has a white title, but it does have, this looks like green because it's against the purple, but I have sampled it and it is like a kind of like a lemon. Oh wait, no, the title isn't white, the series title is white. The title is pink, but on the spine it is the same color as that other text on the cover. And then I was looking it up to get the sample to make sure it was yellow, and there's actually an alternate cover of this. I think it's the original covers of the series that does also have a yellow title. So we're doubling up. We are getting through Magical Readathon prompts as well as books for this 24-hour readathon. So I'm gonna go set up. I will catch up with you guys either later this evening or in the morning with my progress. And yeah, I'm excited to get some reading done after a little bit of a hectic day. Good morning. I am very inconveniently setting up for sprints like right now, but I need to bring you guys an update. So I've been doing this readathon with Leanne, and me and Leanne, you know, we can get a bit chatty. So I haven't read as much as I anticipated reading so far in this readathon, but I am going into another 6 hours of sprints. I also haven't read any of Die. I've only been reading Flawless. I am having a really, really good time with this though. It is essentially the same as book one. It's bringing all of that nostalgia and toxicity from the early 2000s and providing like a very entertaining, really great time. Content warnings in here. I mean, where do I start? Where do I start? There's inappropriate relationships with older people. There is like threat of sexual assault, eating disorders, toxic like bullying type behavior. Anything that was present and inappropriate in the early 2000s is kind of happening here. There's also like a teacher-student relationship in here that is romanticized, but I just feel like it is such a product of its time and it is such a good time in that kind of vein that I'm loving it. It's also a super quick read. I'm halfway through. I'm 140 out of 270 pages, so I am hoping to wrap this up pretty soonish, like pretty early on in the day, and potentially moving on to something else. But I'm reading these obviously for a good time. Like, they're more entertaining than I anticipated them being when I picked up the first book last month, so I'm not expecting anything groundbreaking from them, but it is definitely surprising how enjoyable they are for like a YA book that was published in 2007. So I need to send Leanne the link for today's sprint and get myself sorted. So I'm going to kind of leave this here, but I'm pretty sure that I will be back at some point soon. Why I was like, why am I so wet? But it's because my hair is wet. But yeah, I'll be back, I assume, sometime soon to give you guys my final thoughts on that. It is much later in the evening now. It is 22:08 and it's Sunday, so I'm going to be playing Baldur's Gate tonight with Curtis. But the readathon is now over and I did manage to finish my book, but then I did spend the rest of my time listening to the rest of the Tortured Poets department, and my verdict is I've only listened to it once, and I remember like I listened to Reputation for the first time and hated it, and it's now one of my favorite albums. So my first impression is not necessarily all that valid, but my favorite songs are The Black Dog, So High School, Peter, Tortured Poets department, and I'm definitely missing one. Thank you, Amy, but I think out of all of them, Peter is my number one. I don't like Jack Antonoff. I don't really like the whole first half of the album, and I am, as always, a big Aaron Dessner fan. I'm also living for the hypothetical 10-year relationship between Matty Healy and Taylor Swift. I do, like, with anyone's relationships, I think it's entirely their business. I don't know anything about Travis Kelce apart from that he plays football, but I am also, as we know, an enormous 1975 stan. And when they started dating last year, I was like, I am here for the drama because I know it's going to make really good music, and I'm happy that I'm now getting to kind of reap the rewards of that. In terms of my book, which is what we're actually here to talk about, I finished Flawless and I gave it a low 4-star. These are just super entertaining, guys. Like, they are not brain food, but they may be soul food. The tea is piping hot. And the plot twist, like, we've already had like a pretty major divergence from the show, which is super interesting to me because like the first one is pretty true to the first episode, and this one is also very true to the show until we get to this major point. So I'm really interested to see where it goes from here, because this being different to the show has a whole ton of implications for the rest of the series. I also like, I'm doing a low-key Pretty Little Liars read-along on Patreon now. We're reading like one a month during the 24-hour readathons. So if early 2000s nostalgia is something that you're about, then do join us and catch up for me when we'll be reading book 3. I'm still halfway through Die. I read a little bit right at the end of the readathon, but I haven't finished volume 2 yet, so that is still ongoing. And I do want to finish that tonight, but I also really want to pick my next book. So there is only one magical readathon prompt that I haven't covered for like the ones that I need for either Demonologist or Necromancer. I have yet to read the lore page, and I feel like I'm going to leave that till last because I'm literally that kind of person. It'll take me 10 seconds, so I'm absolutely not going to do it anytime soon. But the School of Magic that I'm going for next, the last one that I need, is Inscription. So the course focus is typography, and the prompt is to write down 3 titles, fold it, and then pick one. So here are my 3 options. I have the only book on my TBR that I need to read this month that doesn't fit into a magical readathon prompt, which is Knock Knock Open Wide by Neil Sharpson. This is Jordaline's Patreon book club book of the month, and she has invited me to co-host. And then the other 2 that I have are very anticipated sequels by me. So A Discovery of Witches and Gideon the Ninth were 2 of my favorite books of last year, and I'm really excited to continue. So we have The Shadow of Night and we have Harrow the Ninth. Personal preference wise, if I could pick one just based on which one of these 3 I most want to read right now, it's Harrow the Ninth. But I'm excited for this because it's a horror. It's a little bit outside of what I typically read, which makes it like spicy, fresh, exciting. And I would also be very happy with Shadow of Night. So here are my 3 pieces of paper. I will scrumple them up again. I feel like I've looked at them now. I didn't see anything. I'm not even wearing glasses, so I can't see. But we'll go for... Shadow of Night by Deborah Harkness. I know that I literally just said that I would be happy if this came up, but out of the 3, I most wanted to read this one. I have to read this one at some point. So I guess this one was the one that I wanted to read the least. But I mean, the spell has spoken, and we're reading Shadow of Night by Deborah Harkness. I was just about to like end it here, but I guess I should tell you what Discovery of Witches is about. So it's essentially Twilight for adults. That is the best way that I can give you the vibe of A Discovery of Witches. We're following a witch called Diana who does not actively, she wants to steal these pieces of paper now. She doesn't actively practice any magic, even though her family, like she comes from a family of witches, and she's working on a research project. I think she's at Oxford, and she calls this manuscript out of the library. It turns out that this manuscript is actually really important and contains a lot of details about the origins of like these supernatural creatures of the world, and it has been lost for many centuries. So she reads it, doesn't think anything of it, and sends it back. But when the demons, vampires, and witches of the world hear wind of this manuscript resurfacing, they all start to flock around Diana to try and get her to call the manuscript back and give it to them. One of the people who kind of congregates around her at this time is Matthew, who is an ancient and powerful vampire, and as I'm sure you gathered with me saying it's like Twilight for adults, they have a little bit of a love story going on. So I really loved the historical elements of Discovery of Witches, which I did not think that I would. That is what has stopped me from reading this series for so long. Deborah Harkness has a background as a historian, so it's like super intricate and detailed with the historical elements, and I just felt like that really added a level of realism to this book, because even though all of the history was going over my head, I trusted that it was correct, and like the history woven in with the supernatural elements made it seem like really believable, which is my favorite thing when it comes to fantastical type stories. So I am really excited to get into this one, although I am a little bit more worried because I know that this one is way more historical than book 1, and I also know that that has put a lot of people off. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it hasn't put me off, or it won't put me off, because I do actually like historical fantasy, although I've never read, I think, historical fantasy that's like this kind, and also the time period. I'm interested to see what I think about that as well.
When I was a little child, I naturally would see magic in the world around me. Now I often get so tired, it's harder just to be fascinated, breathing free. But I can hear raindrops that dancing on the roof. It's like they're calling out down.
Hello my guys, I have filmed 2 videos this morning and also a couple of little extra bits that I needed to do. I've also posted a reel. I made a reel last week and I struggle so much with short form content because I don't think that people look ridiculous or cringe when I'm watching TikToks and reels, but when I'm trying to make one I feel cringe and ridiculous. But I think it turned out all right. But now it is the afternoon. I do have a bunch of editing I need to do. I blocked out all tomorrow for editing, so it's fine if I don't get to it, because the bed, which is gonna go here, exactly where I'm kneeling, is arriving on Wednesday. We had some bedding that we've ordered arrive today. We got a new duvet, new sheets, which I will show you when we're sorting the bed out on Wednesday. But we still have, you can't even see, where is it? Where are you? There we go, a light fitting, hanging off the ceiling. Sorry for the shriek, it was just the box started to collapse under my elbow. But that means that before the bed arrives on Wednesday, we need to get a new light fitting up. So this actually got delivered on Thursday, I think, when I was in London. So it hasn't even been unpacked yet. I'm waiting for Curtis to finish up all of the work that he has to do today because I can't do this by myself. But I just wanted to unbox it and show you guys, and I haven't, like I said, I haven't even seen it myself. Is this how big it is? I don't know how much you guys can see, but there is another box in here. Feels so nice. Oh my god. The packaging is truly endless. I just realized as well that I think that we might need wire strippers, and I'm not sure if I've got any. Instruction leaflet and fixing part. Oh my god, it's huge. This is the smaller one as well. There was 2. I think, was this 30 centimeters? And the other one was 50. So, okay, so I have to assemble it, which means that this unboxing was completely unhelpful because this is just the outside of it, but it's big. It's essentially a glass chandelier, so all of these are going to be little glass bits. But yeah, I guess I got to put it together.
Every Sunday, I used to watch cartoons, but now I'm here, waking up with you. I would get excited about my favorite show.
They like don't pull on it. I'm just thinking of
and all I want to do and take me to a movie.
ebooks! Hopefully. Huh?
Got no reason to pretend I'm somewhere with someone else. When you're around, you heal me.
And there she is in all of her glory. Can't lie, we did a lot of research to try and figure out whether the ceiling would hold it. It's 3.5 kilos, which I believe is not that heavy in terms of light fittings. So we hope and we pray that she stays. Keep your fingers crossed for me, guys, and I'll keep you posted.
Hello, welcome. We have a 30-minute Tabata ride. Now, Tabata is a 2-to-1 effort to recovery ratio. I am a Tabata purist, so that means we are doing 4-minute blocks, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off.
Good morning, my guys. I am about to settle into a day of editing begrudgingly. I'm sleepy, and I don't know why because I went to bed. No, I do know why. It's relating to what week of the month we're in is the reason why I want to go to bed. But yeah, I went to bed early last night and went to sleep early. I got to put like a normal time, but I am tired. I'm going to be editing last week's vlog, and then yesterday I also filmed, did I mention? I filmed my haul and my TBR, and I also have this stack of books on the floor that I am very slowly putting away. The stacks for Shelve It or Scrap It are going to be getting a big injection of new material because as I'm putting some of these books away, other things are obviously having to come off the shelves for that. So it's going to be interesting to see how much of a big jump we have next month because we haven't had one yet, I feel, for that challenge. So this morning I finished listening to my audiobook. Where have I put it? I don't think I've mentioned in this vlog that I'm listening to this. I mentioned last week that I was listening to the audiobook of A Flicker in the Dark by Stacey Willingham. This one is an adult thriller about a girl who is the daughter of a murderer. She is probably like in her early 30s now, but when she was a teenager, her like loads of teenage girls were going missing and her father was found to be the one responsible for kidnapping and murdering them. So she has a lot of trauma, obviously, that she's carried through her life because of this. And when they are approaching the 20th anniversary of these girls' deaths and her father being convicted, she is contacted by a journalist who wants to do a piece on her father and her and like how the family are getting on after all this time. Coincidentally, or maybe not coincidentally at this time, girls start to go missing once again. So last week I said that I thought that this was pretty predictable and that I felt like the plot twist was obvious. I will say that while I did guess an element of the plot twist, it wasn't my first guess and it ended up being a little bit more complex than I thought. So I don't think it's necessarily a groundbreaking thriller. I did give it a 3-star. It's like a 3.5. I had a really good time listening to it. I really like the narration. I think that, I don't know whether it's the narration or the writing is the thing because I didn't read this with my eyeballs, but the way that the story was told to me through the audiobook, while I didn't think it was anything groundbreaking, while I knew that the plot twist was not going to blow me away, I was enjoying the narration, like the experience of listening to it as I was walking Brie and doing whatever else I was doing throughout the course of this book. I will be on haul in it because, as we know, I haul all thrillers, but it did its job. It was entertaining while I read it and I had a good time. In terms of what else am I reading? Oh, this one was for Magical Readathon actually. It was, I've just put the bookmark back. It was for Restoration, which is one of the prompts that I need from Necromancer, and the prompt was to read a book that you think could cure slumps, which for me, if I'm in a reading slump, I always reach for either thrillers or contemporary romances. So that one is done, meaning that my last subject to work on, there we go, is Inscription. And I am of course reading Shadow of Night. I'm not as far into this as I wanted to be at this point. I'm 82 pages in. It's fine so far. I remember that Discovery of Witches was compulsively readable, and I'm not feeling that same level of immersion in the story in this one yet, but the writing style does take a little bit of adjustment, so I'm assuming that that will kick in at some point. That being said, like when I do get to sit down with this, I am enjoying getting immersed in the story. I'm just not being swept away as quickly as I was with book one, but it is like super early days. This one, I told you guys it was a lot more historical than book one. It has a lot to do with, I think the year is 1590, which is around the time that witch hunts were happening, and with our main character being a witch, that does play a significant part in the story, which I think is going to be the most interesting part of this for me. It does contain the School of Night, which I believe were a group of influential people. Like I said, the history goes way over my head, but like Christopher Marlowe and a bunch of other historical figures are characters in this book, which is super cool. Like that's what I like about this, the way that Deborah Harkness like weaves real people into the story and real historical events, even though I don't understand the reference of them because I'm not like a history girly. I do think that the level of detail and attention to detail really grounds the story and makes it appear more realistic. So that's where I'm up to. I am hoping to get some reading done today. I'm just looking because I've got my quilt comforter like to go on top of the duvet as potentially a decorative piece, but also like in winter I like the weight and the warmth of an extra blanket. That is arriving today, which I'm so excited about because if it's anything like it looked online, it is stunning. And tonight is our last night in the spare room. My bed arrives tomorrow, so I have, when the bed arrives, which I don't know what time it's arriving yet, we're gonna like start moving stuff into that room, rearranging stuff, getting our lives back together. So I want to get most of the editing that I need done today so that I don't have any problems with spending all tomorrow working on the bedroom.
Stay inside and type away inside. Oh, make today just a little less mundane. Oh, I can stay inside and type away inside. Oh, take today. Oh, dancing in the rain. Hey, woo, na 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 na. Woo, oh, oh.
I have only just finished editing my vlog, which isn't great because it's like 2:30, but the throw for my bed arrived. I'll obviously show you it better tomorrow when we put it on the bed, but it's orange, which is similar colour to the curtains, a little bit lighter, a little bit brighter, and it's also reversible, and I thought that these were going to be white, but they're gold, which is even better. So happy days for that. Not happy days for the fact that I have only just finished editing that vlog, but in my defense, I was very distracted because this was not on my Tuesday bingo board. I've applied for the London Marathon. Now, you'll remember me saying I wanted to run a half marathon. There's one in October in Cardiff that I've been considering for a long time. And I know somebody who's running. It's Hope, who came to Thailand. And she's really enthusiastic for me to run it. And it seems scary. Like a half marathon in October seems terrifying. But apparently a full marathon in London, running 26 miles next April, seems perfectly doable. And I think it's because like you have to apply for the London Marathon, so it's kind of like, it's less of a scary commitment and more of like a lottery, like silly haha, am I gonna get to run the marathon? Probably not. But like if I do get in, then I guess I'm gonna train for the event of my life. I have been putting away my haul for the day. I've got a couple bits left. I don't know where I'm going to put my Red Rising set. That is actually going to be a problem. But I do also, when I've done that, want to show you the books that I'm going to be putting in the stacks. So far we have 15, which I mean, it's not ideal, really, if I'm being honest. But we're working with it. It was always going to happen. The benefit is that I haven't actually hauled that many books this year in comparison to what I've typically hauled at this point in the year. So while I am going to be adding 15 books to the stacks, which yes, is not great, if I hadn't have done something to stop me from buying so many books, then it would have been much, much worse. So I actually don't know what I'm going to do today. I was just going to edit for the entire day. I do need to go out and get something for dinner because we have nothing. We're also running out of lots of essentials as well that need replenishing. And I do also need to take baby for a walk because we took her out this morning. I walked for about 2 minutes, it started raining and I turned around and came back. So lots of things to be done. If I'm being honest, I want to grab a thick blanket and hey babes and lie on the couch with my book, but I should probably do something. I mean, if I don't get any more editing done today, then that's fine because I can easily knock 2 videos out on Thursday, but it would be more efficient for me to do it now. So I sorted my haul, and considering how many books did I haul, I'm pretty sure it was like 28 or something, and then I'm putting 18 books into the stacks. So considering 28 have gone onto shelves, I don't think that's awful, you know? So I am just going to run through them quickly so that you guys just kind of have a refresher of what's going in there. I'm not really going to tell you anything about them. There is no reason why these books in particular have gone into the stacks, aside from the other books next to them may have been with other books by the same author or in the same series or something like that. So from the romance shelves, this has only just gone onto the shelves and it's come back down, which is Love and Other Disasters by Anita Kelly. We have Rain and Ruin by G.D. Evans, which I'm really excited to read. Disenchanted by Brianna Shigalski, I think is a YA fantasy romance. We also have Book Lovers by Emily Henry. And The Deal by Elle Kennedy. I really want to read a good girl bad boy romance at the minute, so things like The Deal are really speaking to me. It's a combination of The Tortured Poets Department, watching One Day recently, and also that just being like my favorite like start for a romance literally ever. So we also have, these ones have come off the back shelves over there. I got Red Rising on the under window shelves, but that meant that I had to move some stuff over there, and because I've read everything across the bottom of here. So then I picked off Mexican Gothic, which this might actually make me read this book. I've been wanting to read it for such a long time. We have The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin, which is one that I'm a little bit nervous of. Winter's Orbit by Everina Maxwell, which I feel very ambivalent towards. Another ambivalent one, this came off the paperback shelf so that I could get the third Discovery of Witches book on, which is Beasts of Prey by Ayana Gray. And then the only book I think that I've actually hauled that is going straight into the stacks is A Tempest of Tea by Hafsa Faisal, because I do own other books by Hafsa Faisal, but they're paperback, so considering this isn't going to be going next to the rest of my Hafsa Faisal books, it would just be going upstairs. I might as well just put this in instead of something else that's already shelved. We do generally have a lot from, I think it's my adult Fairy Loot shelf. I did start off by separating all of my book boxes into shelves, and then I realized that I had more than like a shelf worth of books for like each individual box, and I had to get my 4 copies of Empire of the Vampire on shelves, I had to move my Livy Blake collection onto the adult Fairy Loot shelf, which meant a ton of adult Fairy Loot ended up in the stacks. So that is A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen, which I've only heard amazing things about. The Drowned Gods by Emily Lloyd Jones, but this one I think came off the Illumicrate shelf. We have, did it though? Yeah, it did. We have The Foxglove King by Hannah Witten. Diary of oops, Diary of Blood by S.T. Gibson, The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi by Shannon Chakraborty, and then, oh yeah, these are all also adult fairy loot. The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chokshi, which I actually really wanted to read this month if I could, but with everything that I still have on my TBR, I don't think that's gonna happen. Another one actually, so there's only 2 magical readathon prompts that aren't accounted for, with either I've already read them and completed them, or books on my TBR that I haven't read yet will complete them. The first one is to read a book with a key or a lock on the cover, and the other one is to read a zodiac recommendation. And one of the zodiac recommendations, one of the Taurus recommendations on a fairy loot reel that they did of recommending books for every sign of the zodiac, was Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Su Lin Tan. So these 2 hypothetically may get read this month. It is unlikely, however. And then the last one is Spells for Forgetting by Adrian Young. So I think that this takes these stacks back up to 68, which ain't great, but I'm sure we'll get them back down again because we have been depleting them rapidly. So to be fair, I'm actually quite happy we're having a little bit of a refill.
No one knows me, standing in the crowd. Now I've got your eyes to see mine, and your voice to calm me down.
Take me to a movie, a matinee, walk out in the middle, laughing all the way. Cause you thrill me, you chill me out. Got no reason to pretend I'm somewhere with someone else. When you're around, you heal me, you feel me.
My bed has arrived. We are almost so close to being sorted with this room. I have moved the drawers. They told us to air out the mattress for a couple of hours and not to put any bedding on it until later tonight. So I'll show you that when it happens. We still need some more pillowcases because I got 2 black pillowcases to go with the sheets and the duvet cover, but I didn't get any for any dress pillows, and I sleep with 2 pillows, Curtis sleeps with 1, so we'll definitely need more. But I wanted to put the bed together first to decide whether I wanted to go for like maybe orange to match the comforter, or green, or whether that would be too much and they should be black. I'm very much, you probably noticed throughout this whole thing, like I can't buy everything all at once. I have to buy one thing. Like I bought the curtains, and when the curtains were in place, it was like, okay, this bedding will go with the curtains. And so yeah, everything has to be done kind of step by step like that. Otherwise I get extremely nervous. But we've moved the drawers. So the idea was that potentially, not necessarily to save money, but to save space, because this room is big, but I don't want it to be like to feel cluttered. Like I want it to feel cozy, but I don't want to be knocking into furniture everywhere, especially because you guys have seen the angles. This is like a straight flat wall, but then we have a chimney breast sticking out on this wall. This one has the radiator on it. This is the bay window, so we don't truly have like a lot of space, like flat space to put things. So previously, like these drawers that were Curtis's were on the chimney breast, but with the king bed, like you'll kind of be squeezing past to get through. So we wanted, or I wanted, was to use, if possible, the 2 sets of drawers that we had, because mine was previously in front of the radiator, to save on end tables, and mine is fine. Like I'm happy with mine. Definitely it was the right decision. I don't know if you can tell, Curtis's are a bit too deep for kind of like a bedside table, so I think we're gonna have to get him one of those eventually. I also still need drawers for my clothes, which is the last true thing that we need to buy. I'm just struggling to find, because mine is quite tall and also fits this alcove. This one. It's so weird because where I'm pointing at the radiator here, but on the camera I'm pointing at, this is me pointing at the alcove in life, and it's just not on the camera. So like this alcove here, my drawers fit perfectly in there, and they're like tall drawers, but everything that I find are either tall and narrow or too wide and short to fit in the gap. So I'm still on the hunt for some of those. We are getting, Curtis has bought me this for my birthday. I'm so excited. It is a floor length mirror, but it is going to take up that entire wall. Like I think it's gonna dip behind the edge of the curtain a little bit. It's so big. I am hyped. Like I wanted one that was, it wasn't much smaller actually, because this one is bigger, but only because the frame is bigger. It looks like a big ornate gilt picture frame, but it's like an enormous mirror. It's like nearly 2 meters tall. I'm so excited. So that is going to be arriving, I think the website said the week starting the 13th of May, which is sad because we have guests come in next Saturday, like a week on Saturday, and I wanted it to be in for then. Also, like, it's my birthday that week. I'm gonna be wearing nice clothes. I want to take mirror selfies, but sadly my mirror will not be here. I'm so excited to have a floor-length mirror for mirror selfies, because if you've noticed, every time I take a mirror selfie I have to kneel or sit on the floor to use the mirror that I have propped up there. I also don't know what we're doing with that mirror, because I do like it. I really like it. I love gold mirrors, but anywhere in here, because of the light, it's morning light, it is northeast facing, I think. You're just backlit if you put it on any of the walls that we have left, which is why the big mirrors go in there. So that is the plan for the rest of the room. I do have a table downstairs that I love. You guys will probably have seen it because it's in the middle of the room. I did say that when the bedroom was done, we would maybe try and move it up here, because with the Peloton bike going in the corner, unless we got rid of Hammy's cat tree and moved that somewhere else, we don't really have anywhere to put that. But then I'm looking around and I'm like, I don't know where that's going. We also have a bedding box in the landing, which I am thinking about painting and putting at the end of the bed, but that will be a summer job, because like, it's April. I went for a run this morning and it was freezing rain halfway through my run. I do actually also want to show you these drawers. Oh my God. I need to be careful. That light fitting is still on the ceiling as well, which is great. I'm worried about that. But these ones are Curtis's drawers. As you can see, boy has put a lot of hairspray and stuff on here, so it's marked all of the varnish. So what I'm going to do is, when the weather's nice, we'll take all the drawers out, take the frame downstairs, and I'm going to just paint the top of it the same colour as the radiator, because otherwise if I varnished it, I'd have to sand it all down and revarnish the entire thing, and that's much easier because there's nothing wrong with the rest of the drawers. So navigating the chandelier a little bit better this time. That is all of the bedroom updates I have for you right now. I did intend my day to go a little bit differently. My plan was to go out for my run, do my yoga, bake while I waited for the bed to come, and sort out the bedroom, shower, and then work on Patreon bookmarks in the afternoon, but the bed came 2 hours earlier than I expected. Honestly, I still have quite a bit of stuff I should be doing in here, because my closet needs sorting now that those drawers have come out of it, and all of my clothes, like the spare bedroom, needs sorting out to get all of the like bits of stuff in there that doesn't need to be in there anymore out. But I think I'm gonna go bake some brownies and deal with that on Friday, I think, because I do have to do a lot of editing tomorrow. I'm glad that I have a lot of stuff to talk to you guys about this week, because reading is not happening. Like, I am reading, but I'm reading this one so much more slower, I feel, than I read A Discovery of Witches. I'm just over 100 pages into it. I'm like, I'm enjoying it, but I don't really have anything to say. I don't really know what the plot is going to be. I kind of wish they would get to the point a little bit though, because they came to this place for a reason, and like, they are pursuing that reason, but all this other stuff is happening, and I'm like, based on where you are and what you're doing, you really need to get your shit together and hurry up and do what you needed to do so you can leave, because otherwise you are going to ruin a whole lot of things. I've been listening to the Tortured Poets department while I do bedroom stuff. I'm listening to the Jack Antonoff half again now, because I definitely prefer the Aaron Desner half like so much. But like I said, now that I'm re-listening to these songs, I am enjoying them a little more, but with the exception of the Tortured Poets department, all of my favourite songs are still on the Aaron Desner half. So yeah, I'll get on with my day. I'll update you as you go. I'm sure you'll see some brownie footage. So excited to sleep in this bed tonight.
Getting hard for me to stay, wishing that it ended differently. Now that we're done, I still think about you. Staring at my phone like every night, wishing you would text me one more time. Like, how's your day? Mine was good, I miss you. We had plans for us to move away when you were 25. Now we say goodbye for the last time. I don't think I can move on. These photos remind me of us when we saw fireworks at Disney at midnight. You kissed me and I drove out to the store in the middle of the night. I miss all the little things we did to pass the time. We had plans for us to move away when you were 25. Now we say goodbye for the last time. I don't think I can move on. These photos remind me of us when we saw fireworks at Disney and then you kissed me.
Yesterday I spent most of my day editing, and I always find that if I'm, because like there's 1 week of the month as well where I do a lot of like YouTube work, a lot of filming and editing, and if it's a week or a day where I'm doing a lot of editing, I cannot vlog to save my life. Like I feel like I've spent so much time listening to myself say things that I simply have nothing at all to say. And that is definitely a valid point and something that happens regularly. But I also have not read very much of Shadow of Night. I did think that this was a little bit repetitive in the beginning. I felt like Deborah Harkness was just bringing the same points up over and over again. We have moved on a little bit from that now. It's not quite so bad. I do feel like some of the points are more like romance focused, and I just feel like it's a little bit unrealistic given the kind of situation that they've ended up in, that they'd be so focused on the romance or would be spending so much time on the romance. And I feel like while I do enjoy the romantic element of this series, I, given the nature of where they are and what they're doing, would like it to be a little bit more plot heavy. So I think that like little bits, because it is a little bit more focused on the romance, like it's dragging things out a little bit more, which is why I'm not as like compelled as I was with the first book in this series. I do feel like one of the main reasons though why I'm not making a ton of progress in this is because I have bought Fallout 4 for PlayStation. I've played Fallout 4 before. I don't remember how far in I got, but I did have it when it was released, but it was on Xbox. I know that we have a PlayStation, and also there's been like a new, like a next gen or current generation update for it. It was like £4 on the PlayStation store on sale, so I was like, cool. And that has taken over my life because the Fallout show is really, really good. I also really like how it's a very good exploration of the Fallout world. And even though Fallout isn't actually my favorite, I much prefer Elder Scrolls. Fallout gives me the ick a little bit, and I always like wander into a Mirelurk nest at like level 2 and get obliterated. But I'm having a good time revisiting that, and it's been a long time since I have actually been sucked into a campaign game that like I'm playing by myself. So I've kind of just been running with that, but that does mean that I am not making any progress on reading very quickly. I am hoping to change that a little bit today, but this vlog is also going to be ending later today, and I know for sure that I'm not going to finish this because literally, guys, did I start this on Monday? I've just started part 3, or I'm just about to start part 3. I'm 227 pages into this. I have 400 pages left. I was going to do some editing this morning up until starting Patreon sprints at like midday, but I'm in a shocking mood. Like I'm in a mood where the minor, like the most minor of conveniences is going to make me punch a wall. So like I said earlier in this vlog, like it's a specific week of the month, okay? I feel like I'm the door. I'll hold that thought. That was a very large delivery of stock for Curtis, but as I was saying, I feel like I am on the verge of turning into a raging psychopath. So I'm actually gonna go and make myself a coffee. I'm gonna schedule sprints to start at 11 instead of 12, which is in 50 minutes, which gives me time to have a coffee, chill with Brie, who has also annoyed me this morning because we went for a walk, and she just, a lot of the time she's fine now, but very occasionally she'll just pull the entire way around. But I'm gonna read a little bit of this and then spend all day hanging out with my patrons. So I'll let you guys know how much I get read and kind of like where we're leaving the week on a little bit later on this afternoon, but hopefully I'll be in a better mood in a few hours. So it's been like 6.5 hours since I last spoke to you guys. You probably can't tell because I'm sat in the same location looking exactly the same as I did earlier, but I have just wrapped up sprints. I've actually, like, Curtis has been clearing out the eaves in the loft today, which I can't remember if I mentioned earlier, but he found some old boxes of stuff, so I went through some of those, had lunch, which took me away from reading, so I haven't read as much as I necessarily wanted to. I wanted to get through like a solid chunk of this book today, but I am now on page 320, so I've read like a good 100-ish pages. I'm pretty sure when I spoke to you guys last I was on like page 227, so just under 100 pages, which really doesn't sound that impressive, but this book really is quite slow. I keep getting into it a little bit more because we have like chapters in the present day interspersed throughout, and I'm enjoying those a lot more, especially because the last one that I read involved Marcus, and I am a big Marcus fan. But then some of the elements, like so what's going on with Diana and Matthew at the minute is a little bit more interesting, but then sometimes I feel like the piece is really lagging and I'm losing interest, and then it perks up a little bit. This book does still remain to be really atmospheric, like A Discovery of Witches is, but I feel like there's not as much urgency in the plot as I expected from this one, and so because of that I'm not as like into it, I'm not as invested and like turning pages like I was with A Discovery of Witches. On top of that, I have, like I said, I've been playing Fallout, which has contributed to the fact that I haven't been reading as much because I haven't been spending as much time reading either. And like, we've done a lot this week. You can tell by the length of this vlog, which right now I have no idea how long it's going to be, but I know it's not going to be short. So the length of this vlog compared to the amount I've read, you can tell that I've been doing some stuff. So that does bring us to the end of this week's vlog. Next week we are going to be wrapping up the magical readathon, hopefully with more than just finishing this book. I'd like to get at least one more book in for April, and then also the first few days of May, which is essentially going to be me prepping for my birthday celebrations that are happening or starting like towards the end of next week. So do stay tuned for that if you are interested. But aside from that, guys, I do hope you've enjoyed this vlog if you've made it this far. If you have, please don't forget to like if you liked it and subscribe if you wanna, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you will go and nobody knows, with guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.